Good evening. Welcome to another class. Hi boys and girls. Today we're going to learn how to make quinoa cakes and we're going to pair that with a very yummy rocket lettuce salad with a little bit of avocado, a little bit of feta cheese and something more yummy like a citrus dressing to it. Let's see. We'll think about it as we go. Okay. So what is quinoa? Quinoa is a plant. Alright. And this plant has been used for feeding animals, for humans for almost as like 7,000 years. So we've been feeding animals for maybe like 5 to 7,000 years. We've been eating it ourselves for about 3 to 4,000 years. A lot of the countries in the world are now using quinoa as a replacement for your general other unhealthy forms of food because quinoa is a superfood and superfoods are eaten by superheroes. Now, who are our superheroes? Who's your favorite superheroes? Tell me in the comments. Alright. My favorite superhero is the Hulk because he's a little bit big, but yeah, he's a little bit more muscular than I am. So we're going to show you the ingredients and then we're going to make this quickly simple dish that you can make at home and it's yummy and your moms are not going to mind you working in the kitchen when you make this. So as for the ingredients that we're going to start with, we've got over here green zucchini, we've got carrots, we've got fresh parsley, we've got garlic, onion, fresh za'atar. If you know what za'atar is, it's a fresh herb that grows here in the Middle East. It's really aromatic. It's from the thyme family, if you know the thyme, the herb. And it really adds a lot of depth of flavor to your food. So you're going to enjoy putting that there and it's going to give a very nice and a different taste to it. It's going to give a very Arabic taste to it. So once we've got this processed, we're going to move over here. So here we've got the binding. Binding is like the glue for the cakes, what's going to hold them the cake together. We've got breadcrumbs and we've got eggs. And over here, the salad, we're going to use fresh tomatoes, feta cheese, which is low in fat and is also very delicious. We've got cucumber, fresh mint to give us nice flavor, and avocado, which is yummy and your mums want to put that in all your food because it's very nutritious and very good for your skin. Also, we've got fresh rocket leaves. Now, very high in iron and also it's basically fiber, so it's very good for your digestion, very good for your stomach. This is basically the kind of food that Popeye would eat, the kind of food all the superheroes would love. It's very healthy. I have washed it in ice cold water, so as you can see it's become crisp now, and just dried it, so it's going to be good for about 2 days. Equipment that we need for processing this, I've got a grater to grate the vegetables that I'm going to put inside the cake. I've got my chef's knife. Now some of you might not be comfortable using a large chef knife, some of you might not have any experience with knives, so I have also kept a small handy knife that usually people use at home kitchens. And also I have a peeler to peel the carrots. These are like the basic equipments that I need. Apart from that, I need a pan to boil the quinoa, I need a pot to mix the quinoa in, and I need a non-stick pan to basically fry the quinoa cakes, and a spatula, and that's about it. So I'm going to talk about the dressing now. I've got some extra virgin olive oil, I've got some light Dijon mustard, I've got an orange, and I've got some pink salt. Pink salt is known for not only being pink, but also it is very healthy and it helps you sleep at night. For all of you kids that can't sleep at night and your mums are pushing you to go to bed at 10, so that's going to help you, and it tastes a lot more better than a normal salt. So let's start, and we'll start by first boiling the quinoa because it's going to take some time and then we got to cool it down again. So we're going to start to boil the quinoa now. I'll show you how to do that, and while that boils we're going to process our other ingredients. Alright, so we've got 500 grams of washed white quinoa over here, and now we're going to add about 1.2 liters of water. Now this is an approximate, maybe we might need to add a little bit more, we'll check on later once it's boiling, and about 20 minutes. So we're going to start with 500 grams of washed quinoa with 1.2 liters of cold water or room temperature water, and we're going to put that to a boil and come check on it after 20 minutes. So you can see the quinoa has started boiling. So we're going to turn it down to a simmer. Now simmering is a temperature lower than boiling. So that basically means the water isn't going boop, 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 boop. It's at a much lower pace and just a little bit of steam on top. It's like angry, but it's not ready to fight yet. Alright, so we're gonna just put the lid and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. So it took like 5 minutes to boil, and it's gonna take another 15 minutes for it to be on the simmer with the lid on. So 15 minutes on simmer and the quinoa has boiled. As you can see, guys and girls, the water has gone. There's no more water. The quinoa has absorbed all the water. So I've got a fork over here, and with the fork I'm just going to lift it up like, you fluff up your pillow. You got wool, so you just fluff it up nicely in a way trying to separate the pearls of the quinoa. Okay, once that is done, which needs about like 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, once that is done, we're going to place this in our fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes in a flat tray, or as much as wide as possible, so that it gets a nice area to hit with the cold air, and then it can go cold faster because we need it to be cold. So we're going to start with the salad ingredients first, because we just put the quinoa in the chiller. It was boiled, right? And because it's much nicer and much more tasty to have a crisp and a cold salad. So we've got the cucumber over here. It's washed, it's clean. I'm going to show you half with my chef knife, and the half I'm going to show you with the smaller knife. So we got the knife, and this is the heel, this is the blade. This is where I'm going to hold it. See my hand positions. My thumb is here to guide my knife. I've got a good grip. Okay, so it's like this. Alright, so I'm going to hold the knife. I'm going to cut out these two ends without wasting much of the cucumber. So you got that, and you got this. Alright, that's done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my knife through these two hands like a tunnel, like a train going through a tunnel. So this knife is going to be here, and my hand on top is going to, with these two fingers, I'm going to hold the cucumber and keep it in place. So that's like a train. So you can choo choo, that's the train going in, and you've got the knife there in the tunnel, and you start from top, from the front to the back. It's cut. Okay, front to back. Front to back in the tunnel, front to back. Always keep the tip of the knife to the cutting board. That will help you get a better grip, and that's going to keep the knife away from your pretty little fingers. So that's my cucumber. It's been cut in half. I'm going to cut it into another half. So basically make it into quarters. Boom. So I've got the small knife here now. Same way to hold it, but as you can see, the bigger knife has a much bigger heel. It's like heels, the shoes that women wear, and this has a much smaller heel. So I don't have too much space to keep my thumb on the heel. So in the smaller knife, I'm going to hold it like a knife you would to hit someone, so like they show in the movies. So I'm going to keep my thumb on top over here to guide, and my fingers over here to hold and grip the knife. Always grip it tight so you don't slip. That's here. I've got same like the train. I'm going to hold the cucumber, and this time, because it's a smaller blade, I'm not going to go from front to back. I'm going to do the full back motion like the tug of war. So I'm going to pull it back towards me. That's how you do it with the smaller knife. Now that's the easy part. We're going to remove some of the seeds in here, because these seeds are not good for you. They kind of tend to get stuck somewhere in your body, and they do not get digested well with your stomach. So here I just kept the knife, and I just rested the knife on the cucumbers, and I just dragged it around across. So now the cucumbers is ready. I'm going to keep my hand as far as away as I can from the knife. I'm going to rest my hand over here on the cucumber. If I'm not comfortable with holding all four together, because I've got big hands, maybe you don't, so then you just take one piece, you take your knife, keep the knife as far as away you can from your pretty little fingers, and you push down, push down, push down, and try to get the same size. If you can't, it doesn't matter, it's a salad, you're going to eat it, your teeth are going to cut it anyway. So you got that, and now because I can hold all three, so I've got one finger on each, as far as away I can from the knife, and I'm going to push down, push down. Okay, that is done. So here I've got this bowl. I'm going to take all these cucumber bits and I'm going to put them in this bowl. We're going to do something similar with the tomatoes. So I've got washed tomatoes here. This green stem, we're going to remove that. Alright, this is the eye of the tomato. It's like an evil eye. Okay, so this eye of the tomato is not something you want to eat. So I'm going to take my small knife. I'm going to poke it right there. I'm going to go around it like this. And pull it out. Pull it out. Yeah. Or I can just use my hand if I don't want to mess around too much with the knife. So I can take I'm going to show you with the big knife now. I'm going to just take this. This is a wobbly end. This is a flat end. So you get the flat end at the bottom. You do same the train in the tunnel. Keep two fingers on top of the tomato. Put the knife from the bottom. You got that in half. You do the train again. You cut it into quarters. So you got a lot of seeds and this white part. Now, I'm sure you don't want to eat that stuff also. It's got seeds. Seeds are not good for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop under and around. Okay. So I'm going to go again. Now I'll show you with a small knife. So I'm going to take one piece. I'm going to go inside. And from the sides I can see the seeds. So I'm going to go inside and just keep my fingers on top above the blade and just pull it out. Pull it out. Inside and pull it out. Okay, so we've got the tomatoes ready. Okay, now we're going to process the tomatoes. Similar size to the cucumber. So just hold piece, cut it half lengthways. Cut it half lengthways. And then I'm just going to rest it flat on its shiny side. That's its back, and cut it in half. Okay, cut it in half. We can cut it smaller, but then that's maybe you're not comfortable with that. But if you are, just keep your fingers here. Cut it smaller if you want. See, you can cut it smaller. You can do the tug of war movement and cut it smaller. Okay, so you can do it like this. So now you have both the cucumbers and tomatoes ready. Next we got this big piece of avocado. We grab that. Oh, it's like a cricket ball. Alright, we keep it down. See this has this end also that you remove off. Okay, you keep the avocado. How do you know the avocado is cooked, by the way? Push it in. It should be like Play-Doh. It should be soft. Alright, so you keep that down there. You take your knife and you do the train movement again, but the avocado has a big seed in the middle, so you got to put a little bit of pressure, a little bit of force, and you'll go right through it, right there. See that? This is the big avocado seed, and it's come out. It's a good avocado. The seeds come out. Now what you're going to do is we're going to take a spoon and scoop it out just like an ice cream. So you can see the spoon has gone in between the flesh of the avocado and the skin, and I'm just going to go it around. Yeah, there you go. I've got the avocado out. Here you go again. The avocado, go around with the spoon. Feel the spoon at the bottom of the flesh with your palm. Okay, and turn it around. You got two nice halves of the avocado. So one thing that I want to tell you is always keep your cutting board clean. Something that I've not been doing till now. So I'm gonna get rid of all this trash over here, and I'm gonna make some space for me to cut that avocado. And I'm gonna just cut. It's very soft. It's like butter. You don't even really need a big knife. You can even cut it with a butter knife if you have one. And just gonna lightly with very soft hands, I'm gonna cut it into these big chunky dices. So if you would see, all my vegetables are of similar sizes because that looks nice. It's symmetry. It gives a good appeal to the salad. Unless you're making like specific designs, like you want to learn how to make a diamond shape, you want to learn how to make a star, or you want to learn how to make a crescent or a semicircle or different shapes. That's a different thing. But always try to keep your ingredients on a similar shape, so they look nice together. So that's done. So now I've got the feta that I've cut into similar sizes as the cucumber and the tomatoes. Okay, and I've got the rocket lettuce that I told you I washed. I've got some fresh mint leaves. I'm gonna just keep this all stuff in the fridge till my quinoa cools down. And once the quinoa is cool, we're gonna start making the patties. So we're gonna start with the ingredients that we're gonna put inside our quinoa cakes. Obviously the cake won't be just plain quinoa. We're gonna put some nice vegetables that have a little bit of crunch, a little bit of flavor in it. So we've got this nice big piece of zucchini, because we're probably making about 30 to 40 pieces of quinoa cakes. So one big zucchini, I cut the ends off. Okay, I've got this grater. You see this large grater, the grating, the large side of the grater. I'm going to grab this zucchini in a stabbing motion. I'm going to hold it like this tight. I'm going to keep my hand on top wherever you find the support. If you do not, then you can take a piece of cloth and hold it. And same rule that applies with a knife. The blade of the grater is very sharp, so you want to keep your fingers and your skin away from that. So I'm going to hold it a little bit in a downward motion to give it that help with the gravity going downwards. So you see that? I'm going to grate it now. You can shorten down my recipe if you would need to make at home for like about bunch of 2-3 people only, not a lot of people. I want to make it for the whole family that I'm cooking now, because everyone's waiting for me to finish this video and then they can eat dinner. So I'm just going to take this little bit. I'm going to keep it on the side because I don't want to risk grating my fingers and start making human quinoa cakes along with that. So you can see a lot of zucchini over here. Yeah, and just grab the insides, get messy. Put your hands inside. Okay, I just transfer this all onto this plate over here. And that's done. I'm just gonna clean up a little bit that I dropped. Now guys, we got this big carrots over here. Okay, so I'm gonna peel the carrots. How do you hold the peeler? Similar way to the knife, 4 fingers and the thumb. Okay, thumb and the 4 fingers. I got that. I got this. I got the carrot. I'm gonna go and find the big end and rest that on my hand, on my palm, and keep the smaller end towards me. I'm going to bend it downwards, and I'm going to just go I'm going to just rotate the carrot within my fingers like this. Okay, and slowly, take your time. We're going to do it as slow as we want. Okay, sometimes you might not be able to get a grip, like right now I'm not, because the carrot is kind of curved inwards over here. So you can always go on the smaller end also. Yeah. So I'm going to grate the carrot the same way I grated the zucchini. Carrots and zucchini are done. So now we're going to take the onion head, the tail. You grab either one, just take it off. Careful, again, your hands and fingers away, just holding the furthest away end. Alright, I got that, and when I reach to the last layer, Just gonna keep my hand here and pull. Now with my hands I'm just gonna lightly peel this onion off. The first layer needs to go because it's going to be really strong and it's got the dry skin on top. Yeah, so we got the onion peeled now. How do we cut the onion? Simple way would be to cut it in half, okay, and then just slice it. But another way, if you are not very confident going that fine with the knife, you can always grate it. All right, but I'm going to slice it now. I'll show you how to do that. So this and then this, these are the ends that we cut off. So line up the ends together and then hold your fingers like fork, hold your fingers there and go softly. Same. Keep the top of the knife to the cutting board and pull the heel down. Just go slightly ahead every time. Slightly ahead every time. Okay. So now what you're doing is you have sliced the onion. This last bit, see, you saw this last bit, it kind of slipped. So what you can do is you can just leave that down there and just go like this. Same. Now to make it more smaller, you can just turn it around and go in the opposite direction, and then you got much smaller. I'm gonna grab it again now and okay, keep your fingers away, so inwards, tips inwards. Okay, do as much as you can. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit big also. We're going to cook it. That's done. So now I've got the garlic that's peeled. I'm going to use just 2 cloves because I'm not going to make all of it now. We're going to make a small batch just to show you how to do it. Okay, so I've got the garlic. It's resting on the cutting board. My finger is away. My knife is there. And I'm just going to keep these 2 fingers over here. And I'm just away. Down and away. Down and away. Down and away. Keeping my thumb away from the blade. Okay, you can keep it away on this direction also and just go like this. Again, like I said, the important thing is to always stay safe and keep your fingers safe. So you can just keep your fingers over here and then later cut it smaller. Okay, that's done. That's gonna go in with the onion. The last thing we're going to do is the thyme that I talked about, this wild thyme, also known as za'atar. I'm going to take my knife, cut it in half. I'm going to take my knife, cut it in half again. I'm going to put them on top and cut them in half again. So I've already made them very small. So I'm going to take my 2 fingers here again and we're going to just roughly chop it up. Alright, that's chopped up. If you're not comfortable with that, it's okay. You can leave it big. It's not going to make much of a difference. You're going to cook it. It's all about the flavors. It doesn't matter about the size. Okay, so that's done. We're going to check on the quinoa if it's cooled down and we're going to start making our cakes. So I've got the pan over here. As you can see, it's a deep pot actually. So this is I'm going to use this to cook the vegetables, remove the water that I'm going to add to the quinoa cakes. I'm going to switch on the range carefully. Under the supervision of an adult, always operate the fire. The range is on. I'm going to put it on high heat. Keep the pan in the center of the flame. Wait for the pan to heat up. And once it's kind of hot and you can see a little bit of the steam or a little bit of the smoke rising, that means it's very, very hot and it's ready to go. And at that point, I'm going to reduce the heat. And we're going to start with cooking our vegetables. So we're just going to wait for a second or two to let the pan heat up. Always keep your hand on the handle, or if you're not holding the handle, keep the handle inwards because you don't want to crash into it while walking. That hot pan is going to give you a lot of pain, so you don't want to do that. Keep the handle away from you inwards, or hold the handle firmly with your hand. So the pan is hot now. We're going to put about 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Maybe a little bit less, maybe like about 2 to 3 tablespoons. We're going to throw in the garlic first. Once the garlic is gone in, we're going to put in our onions at the same time. Okay, that's the onions. You can hear the pan is hot, the onions are sizzling, they're jumping, they're screaming, help, help, help me, it's so hot. Yeah, I'm going to stir it with my spoon, round and round she goes, and try to make an 8 shape also. You can try make an 8. You can always bring them back to the center. Onions and garlic are in, onion and garlic is in. Now we're going to throw in our carrot. Put about the carrot, and then on the other side our yummy zucchini. The carrot and the zucchini are going to cook as well. Basically what we want to do is we want to dry them out so it doesn't make our quinoa cake wet. So all the vegetables are cooked. Just mix them. I cook them for about like 5 minutes till all the water dries up, because you will notice all the vegetables will go down like in about half the size. All of these vegetables have a lot of water in them. The water is going to dry up and the vegetables go about half the size. Now you can see the carrot and the zucchini has left a lot of its water. You don't want them to get mushy and mashed. We're not pushing them down, we're just moving them from side to side. So in about a minute or so they're going to be ready. While this happens, right now we're going to put in our seasoning. Seasoning is the pink salt. There goes the pink salt. Along with that, we're going to put in now our parsley and our fresh za'atar. Now, the reason why I put the za'atar and the parsley later is because herbs don't need a lot of cooking. We want them to be fragrant like perfumes. They want to be smell fresh and nice. You don't want them to cook them too much. We're just going to mix them up nicely. And that's about it. I'm going to switch off the flame now because the pan is also very hot. And that's done. Put that in the chiller to cool for about 5 minutes. We're going to add it to our quinoa. We're going to start making our cakes. It's about time. I'm getting hungry. This would have been 120 grams of raw quinoa, for which I would need about 360 to 400 ml of water. The easiest way to measure it would be with your small water bottles, which are about 500 ml. So fill it up a little bit less and then you'll know you've got it approximately right. Okay, I'm going to put the vegetables in there. Okay, now if you remember, these vegetables were grated and then they were sauteed, which is the word we use for cooking with a little bit oil in the pan. Alright, there goes the vegetables. I'm going to put in there about 4 eggs. The eggs are really large, these ones, so I'm going to just probably put 3 and leave 1, and let's just see how it goes with 3. If not, we're going to add the 4th one. So I've got some fresh breadcrumb that I've made. I'm going to put about 100 grams of this breadcrumb. Now the eggs and the breadcrumb are going to keep this together. I want to tell you, this breadcrumb is from brown bread. As you can see, it's not very white, so it's not that bad for you. It's still okay. It's bread, but it's the multigrain bread, so it's still healthy. I've washed my hands, and you should too in every step that you do. I washed my hands, so I'm just going to go around. I'm going to fold in this all together with my hands. There you go. Now we must remember, these are raw eggs that we're working with. So after you mix this, you got to wash your hands very nicely. Yeah, the quinoa needs to absorb all of this, and we already put salt in the quinoa while boiling it, so it's got seasoning. We put salt in the vegetables while cooking them, so we don't need to add any salt right now. There you go. Let's mix up nicely. You can see it's like working with Play-Doh. You can feel it's sticky. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the fridge for a few minutes. So like soil of the plants, where you put water, it absorbs. This will absorb all the moisture, the liquid of the egg, and it's going to become a little bit more dry, a little bit more like glue. It's going to stick together, and then we're going to be able to make the cakes out of it. So the quinoa mixture has cooled, and you can see it's a lot firmer now. Yeah, I'm going to take like a small bit in my hand. I'm going to roll it softly into a ball, and once it's here, with my palm, just press. So press and squeeze it out of your hand. That is a patty or a cake. So I'm going to do it again and show you one more time. Alright, I'm going to take a small bit, roll it into a ball, and then press it in my palm. Press and then squeeze it out. There you go. That's the patty. Or if you have an ice cream scooper, you could scoop it, and then you could do that instead also. Like I showed you before, we're going to take a little bit in our hands, roll them into a ball, and then press it in our palm and put it in a plate that I have lightly oiled, so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. You see, it's like an ice rink. It's sliding and slipping. There you go. So again, it doesn't matter if they're the same size or not. It's all about the taste. It should taste good. Try to keep them a little bit shallow. I mean, don't try to make them too thick, because that's going to take a lot more time to cook, and it's going to take a lot more oil in it. So the shallower or the thinner you keep the cake, the more crispy also it's going to be. I like crispy food. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to start with making 5, and then you can make the rest yourself. So now we've got a shallow pan. This we're going to use to fry the cakes. Same way I told you before. Turn on the flame, heat the pan up, always under supervision of the adult of the house, and always remember, when you switch on the fire, you say fire on, and when you switch off the fire, you say fire off. Not for the adult to hear, but for you to remember always to switch off the flame. Now I already heated the pan up, so it's pretty hot now. I'm going to put olive oil over here. Yeah, that's decent amount of oil. I'm going to just wait for it to heat up a little bit. I'm going to swish and swirl it around. See the pan is shining. That way the oil is going to spread everywhere evenly. And just wait, give it a few seconds to heat up. Because the pan is hot, it's not going to take very long. It's going to be very quick. There, I'm softly drop the patties in by touching one edge to the bottom. I don't want to throw it in, because what happens when you jump into a puddle is what will happen when you throw something into hot oil. That's all going to splash on top of you, and you're going to get yourself a pretty nasty burn. You don't want that. So I touch one end to the bottom and softly drop it in. There you go. The patties are going to cook. These are like Play-Doh. It's very soft. You don't want to be rough with it. You got to handle it like a new baby. You got to take care of it. So I'm not going to move them around much. Give it about 2 to 3 minutes and it's going to get a nice color on the other side. I'm going to flip them over and check how's it going. So I've got this slicer. It's called a slicer. Then pick up a slice. Okay. Now with this slicer, I'm going to flip them over. Get it nice and easy under it. Yeah. And just softly. Oops, it's slipping. Flip it over. Yeah. So you can see it's got a nice color. It's browning. There now. Flip it over. I'm going to use my hand, but try not to because it's pretty hot. Okay, just get them back in there. It's like ice skating, flip it over. That's done. We got 5 there going. I'm going to bring the heat a little bit down now because it's already cooked on one side and quinoa is already cooked. The vegetables are cooked. We just want to give them a nice color on both the sides. Okay, so I'm going to just check the other side. You can see it's almost done, and we're just going to check the other pieces also. Yep, they're done. The ones that are done, we're going to start pulling them out. Yep, so we're going to take them. We've got a plate over here with tissue on it. You can always hold this plate. You can hold this plate near the pan and put the cakes on top. That's going to absorb all the oil and just get it to dry out. You don't want to eat all that oil, right? So the oil is going to dry out. And while that happens, now we're going to make the dressing for the salad, and we're going to quickly plate this up and be ready to eat. Okay, so we got the orange. We're going to quickly cut it in half. Yeah. Okay, just get as many seeds as you can out. Squeeze this in the vegetables that you cut for the salad. Yeah, squeeze it all in. It's going to be nice flavor. Half of the orange. If you feel the orange is very firm, it's not soft enough for you, get an adult to do it for you. They can help you with the squeezing part. Okay, that's done. I'm going to move the cutting board aside. I've got this. I'm going to take my mustard. I'm going to put a spoon of mustard into this. I'm going to use a fork. Well, this is almost a spoon of mustard. This is light mustard. It's not very strong. It's going to give very nice. I'm going to put some olive oil. Yeah, that's done. Now, one smart thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything here and just take this feta and keep it on the side. So I don't want it to mash in while I mix the dressing. Just gonna move the feta. Yeah, so we've got everything else over here, and we also have our sea salt, our pink salt, and our ice cold rocket lettuce. So I'm gonna put a little bit of the pink salt, not too much because the quinoa cakes has a good amount of seasoning in it. I'm going to put the rocket lettuce half. I'm going to keep a little bit, you put most of it and keep a little bit to put on top. So I'm going to just remove the lettuce and keep it next to the feta. Alright. So make this at home for your family, for your siblings, for your parents if you're looking for a birthday gift to come soon. So surprise them, and you put the salad in the center. Try to get all the colors in. Try to keep it in the center. Yeah. There you go. Just make it into a circle. Quickly grab your quinoa cakes before they get cold. You want to put them 1, 2, and 3. Alright, you can do it in different ways. You can do it like that. You can put it in a circle. You can put more if you want. I just want to put 3, so I'm just going to go with 1, 2, and 3. And on top, I'm just going to crumble the feta. Yeah, that's my crumbled feta on top. And I'm going to put some 2-3 pieces of the rocket lettuce. And my fresh mint leaves I'm gonna tear for some nice flavor. With that done, I think our meal is ready. Yes, say this is our beloved camera person who spent 45 minutes to 1 hour shooting, smelling, crying, waiting to eat. She has been tortured to record the video. I'm just joking, she had fun also. And now she gets her reward. What? How is it? How's it taste? Boss?
I'm not talking, I'm eating.
Okay.